And then, you know, like when your baseball team goes against another team and they think the other team is going to win, and you're like, yeah, you thought you were bad. This is what Key is going. He says, all right, where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country shall leave us no more? What he's saying is the British predicted that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, that would be what our country would turn into. That's where he's going with that. And then he says, you know, their blood has washed out their foul footsteps pollution. No refuge could save the hireling. Keep in mind, the British officers got to take from whatever they were captured and slave. The British were like slaves to their king, slaves to their officers. Key, being a slave holder, understood that. From the terror of flight and the gloom of the grave and the star-spangled banner and triumph doth wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I'll conclude with the last verse, because in a way it's a timeless verse like for us today. You know, where Key says, oh, thus be it ever, whenever, just like in the modern day right now, free men shall stand. So notice the juxtaposition. The British are hirelings and slaves. The Americans are free men choosing to do this stuff between their loved homes and the war's desolation. So whether you look at pictures of 9/11 where you see destroyed homes and desolation, whether we remember our fighting people in modern day like Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, who are literally standing between homes and desolation, you know, that's what Key is talking about, between the loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heavens rescue land. If you look at the 20th century, United States, World War I, the First World War, World War II. And for most of those wars, that's all overseas. So here, yeah, blessed with victory and peace, the heavens rescue land. That's what Key is again thinking about his country. Praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Here's Key's religion coming through, his intense religious beliefs. Key says, you know, then conquer, meaning win we must, when God is, and conquer we must, when our cause it is just. So again, that just war. If your cause isn't just, you're probably not going to win. And this be our motto, and God is our trust. And if you add all that, if your cause is right, and according to Key, if you have this faith, then the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall. So if you look, it says shall wait. It doesn't say it's automatic. He sets up a condition, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. So, you know, sometime read all 4 verses. But this is the place to really understand what those 4 verses mean. Right here on the Patapsco River, you know, right here where he conceived that idea. Key never visited the fort that we know of, but he was here on the water when he wrote the idea. Back of a poem, or back of an envelope. They didn't really have envelopes. It was basically a folded letter, would look like this. And basically, you unfolded it, you wrote your letter on one side, and you folded it in such a way that you addressed the other. So he probably would have had something like that. Being a lawyer, probably would have had a pencil or something. Probably wrote the first few ideas, and then when he got back into Baltimore, he finished it up. So again, you know, as we're here today, talking about, you know, as we ran up for the bicentennial of the War of 1812, in a way the words of Key come through a lot more stronger. And I'm glad you all chose to come down here today. That timelessness, that confidence that we got from winning the war, or at least tying from the British in the War of 1812, is that confidence that saw us through those world wars. No coincidence, it became official during 1931, during the Great Depression, another time of stress. 9/11, more recent times, people saw inspiration. The flag and anthem. Flag and anthem stood as freedom during the Civil War, stood as a symbol of equality during the Civil Rights Movement. So in a way, that timelessness has affected every generation of Americans ever since. And it's something that causes us to think today. So as we go around, I want to take my hat off to you for choosing to come out here today to think about the Star-Spangled Banner, to be here by dawn's early light as we place this buoy. I'd also like to, one thing that Francis Scott Key said, and it's applicable to our Coast Guard's people here today. It was, Key was older. He was in Frederick, Maryland at a convention, and by this time the Star-Spangled Banner had become very famous. It wasn't official yet, but it was only a matter of time. And people started like saying, hey Key, you know, tell us about, you know, when you saw that flag, and let's cheer Francis Scott Key, and Key calmed everybody down. And these are Key's words. He said, let praise not for me be given, but for the inspirers of the song. meaning those who put their lives on the line to defend the fort. He's basically said, I was out of the line of fire. I had the luxury of just watching the whole thing, scratching out the words. But those who defended the fort, defended that freedom, that's who you should be thanking. So, in a way, you know, whether it's in modern day, I mean, we know World War II, the Coast Guard ran a lot of those landing craft. Today, they're busy with drug interdiction. Today, the Coast Guard's busy, you know, with anti-terrorism missions, and then also keeping these ports secure. And so, in a way, these are the modern folks that Key is saying to thank. And then on today, a very special mission to place the buoy. And I can tell you, thousands of people come by and they see this buoy, and they were not even thinking Star Spangled Banner, Birth of the National Anthem. That inspires them to do it. So I would like 3 cheers for those of the United States Coast Guard who were gracious enough to invite us out here today, and for what they're doing when they're not placing the Francis Scott Key buoy. Hey, Ab! Hey, Ab! Hey, Ab!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, let's say we put this thing in the water, okay?
All right.
Do it. All right.